Hi, I'm Jessica Bessin, Mercer County Extension Agent for Horticulture, and I'm here today to give you 10 tips on starting seeds at home. So first thing we need to start off with is our seeds. So if you're getting a small pack like this, or maybe you order something in a larger size from a company, all seed packets are going to have all the information on them that you need to know about growing that plant. So it's important to start off. Your tip number one is to look at the back of it and see, how long does it take for these plants to grow? This is some delicata winter squash that we have here, and it takes about 95 days until it's mature. We also want to look, and this can tell us how deep the plants need to be planted, how far apart, when is it a good time to put them outside once you've started them in your house. So step number two is to find a container. We have multiple different options for containers. You can use a clay pot like we have here, a plastic container. Maybe you saved one from some other plants last year. You just want to sanitize them before reusing. There are compostable pots like these right here, but one thing that they all have in common is that they have drainage holes in the bottom of them. And this is very important for starting any seeds or any kind of plants, to always make sure you have drainage holes. The next thing we need to think about, number three, is our media that we're going to use. We want to use a soilless media. So this means that we're not just digging soil right out of our garden and putting it in these containers, because then we risk spreading disease and weed seed in with our little seedlings that we're trying to grow. So a soilless media you can purchase at any garden store or any of the box stores or local stores as well, usually made up of sphagnum moss, vermiculite, and we want to make sure to wetten this a little bit before we start to fill our pots. The next thing, once we take our container and fill our pot with our soil, we don't want to fill it all the way to the tip top, because when we water it, we don't want it to overflow. We make sure and we check that depth of that seed. And we usually start off by planting 2 seeds in the container. So you can plant 2 seeds down in there and cover it up. And then we want to go ahead and take up a tag. You can use a popsicle stick. I have a few little planting tags you can get at garden centers like this, and write on there with pencil, because over time, if you use ink or pen, a lot of times it'll wash off, even using marker. So pencil is the way to go on your tags. So place your tag with your plant so you know what it is. You may want to put the date on the back of that too, so you know when you planted it. And then you want to take a little water and water it in. Just very gently water it in. You may use a spray bottle as well. You could spray too to help it. If your house is really dry and you don't have a lot of humidity, you could take a little piece of plastic and cover them just to bring up that moisture content until they start to germinate. But as soon as they start to germinate, you want to remove this, okay? So next thing you do, after you've seeded it and you watered it, you move it to a bright, warm location without direct sunlight. So that's when those seeds are going to start to germinate. Now some people, and this is something I forgot to mention earlier, this is another thing you can plant in seeding. This is more what a more commercial producer might use, a 50-cell seed tray. And then they will often use heat mats as well, like we have here. You can put this heat mat on and lay it on your table and put your trays on top of it. And this will heat up that soil and allow better germination. So once these seeds have germinated, that's when you want to move them to a south-facing window. And you want to make sure to rotate them, because as the seedlings come up, they will lean towards the sunlight. Now, some people like to use grow lights. You can buy those commercially. Many different companies have them available for homeowners too, for home kits. But you could also use a cool white or a cool and warm fluorescent lights about 10 inches away from the plants. And you want to leave those on for about 12 to 18 hours a day, and make sure that you don't get them too close or it's going to burn those little seedlings. So as I mentioned before, we planted 2 seeds in this little pot here. As they start to come up, we're going to want to thin them out. That's our second to last step here, is to thin them out. So it seems like you don't want to get rid of one of those plants, but if you snip one of them off, you're going to have a much stronger, happier, healthier plant to take out to your garden. So we've gone through where your plants have grown and they're getting bigger, and it's about time to put them outside in your garden. So we want to do this final step called hardening off. So this is where we acclimate our little transplants that we grew inside to the environment outdoors. So you want to take them and place them in a shady location for about 1 to 2 weeks, where they get a little more sun each day or so, and that is what will get them toughened up so they'll be ready to go out into your garden. For more information on starting seeds at home, give us a call at the Mercer County Extension Office at 859-734-4378 or visit our new Horticulture Facebook page.